So in today's video, we're taking a closer look at the trail wrist. We're going to be talking about the term lag and discussing whether that's actually a good thing for you to be trying to hold in your downswing.
Perfect.
Improving how your trail wrist moves in the downswing can absolutely result in better shots, straighter shots, longer shots, and more consistent shots. And we're going to dive into exactly how that can help you and discussing the term lag and maybe looking at what you're actually trying to hold in your downswing and maybe what you're trying to not hold in your downswing. Before getting into that, I would just like to make you aware of a new training series that is on my website, chrisryangolf.com. You can see the details at the bottom of the screen there. It is called Ultimate Ball Striking. It is going to get you to step onto the golf course with some confidence and some knowledge that you can hit your best shots every single time. It's a 4-part training series, over 60 minutes of content with drills, tips, games that can make it fun and enjoyable. It's going to tell you when to practice, how to monitor your practice. Really believe it can help you elevate your ball striking by following the steps that are within that training series. Link up in the corner, link in the description box. If you'd like to head over there, take a look. There is a short trailer or an intro video which will give you an insight as to what's involved in the course, and I'm really confident that it can help you play some better golf if you're interested in doing that. Trail wrist, holding lag, two things which are incredibly important for you to play your best golf. And I think there's definitely a little bit of misconception here and maybe a few wrong ideas about what we're actually trying to do in the downswing. Before we go through two little exercises, which I'd love you to do, and you can do these at home or at the driving range, what can your trail wrist do? Well, it can only do two movements. If I hold my forearm, we have this movement here. That's one movement that I have available to me in my wrist. And then when we look from the face on, we have this movement here. That's the only two movements we have in the wrist. In a good golf swing, in a good downswing, we use both of those movements. Now, if we look at a golfer who maybe wants to hit the ball further, maybe wants to strike the ball better, very often what they are trying to do is during the downswing, they're trying to hold this angle here for longer. Maybe they see this angle in the downswing and they kind of want to try and hold that for longer, believing that's going to help them hit better shots. This angle here, this 90-degree angle, if we go to setup, is this movement. There you can see that 90-degree angle. So if I create that 90-degree angle and I hold it all the way to impact, I'm not going to hit the ball. The club is not going to arrive at the ball. For me to have the club hit the ball, we have to undo that movement. So if we try and hold that for too long, what happens? Well, this happens. We create it, we try and hold it for too long. At some point, your brain is not going to let you hold that much longer. It now starts to go downwards far too late. We start to have the club work across the ball, and we often react in our body and we kind of jump up and the impact just feels terrible and we get weak shots. So we're not really suggesting that you need to hold this angle at all, because that's probably not going to help you. What we're saying is we create it in the backswing, but we've got to get rid of it in the downswing for the club to hit the ball. What about the other movement? What about this movement? Well, in the backswing, the trail wrist does this. Okay, we've got a lot of shape in that wrist, and you'll see at the top of most golf swings how we can see that there. That angle, we'd probably like to try and hold. That's the one that I really want you to focus on holding. If you can hold that wrist back, that's what's going to improve your contact, that's what's going to improve your strike, and that is what is going to get you to hit the ball further, not the wrist set. So if we take a look at an elite golfer at impact, what do we see? Well, we certainly don't see at impact that they've held this angle, but what we do see is they've held some of this angle. What do we see in the poorer golfers? Well, we tend to see them a little bit more this, where they've change that wrist angle. This is the key one. So two little exercises which are going to help you work on that in your golf swing and help you initially, possibly for the first time, just feel what the right movement is. Take an alignment stick, hold it under your lead side where I've got one end pointing at the ball and the other end up on my lead side. Now, what are those two movements if we did them on our own wrist set? Is this, where the end points above the ball and towards the ball, and the other movement is this. So what am I looking to do? Well, I want to make some little backswings. I want to make some little movements through. And I want to feel like I point this end of the alignment stick towards the ball and have this end hit me after the golf ball. And hopefully as I do that, you can see that that's happening. I'm trying to point one end at the ball, and have this hit me afterwards. If I try and hold my wrist set too much, this end doesn't point down at the ball. We've got to undo that, have to undo that. That's the wrist hinge, you want to call it wrist cock. We have to undo that. If you hold that too long, good things don't happen. So point it at the ball, get you to hit it afterwards. If you undo this angle too soon, then it's going to hit you on the side far too early. So whilst that looks like a relatively simple drill and it might look quite easy to do, it's really teaching us how to use this movement and this movement correctly. And if we can start to do that little exercise and we can start to get this movement, we're effectively training that wrist perfectly. Really common to see things like this. You can see how this is very, very different than someone who would do it correctly. So even that little drill might help you kind of see some differences and feel some differences. Drill number 2. Now, it's quite important that we set this up correctly, so pay attention to this and bear with me. I want you to place an alignment stick around about 6 to 8 inches in front of your toe line and around about 1.5 to 2 feet to your trail side. Around about there. Now, what are we looking to do here? We're going to get you to the top of the golf swing, and then I want you to trace from the top to impact your club head moving down behind the stick and to the ball. If you can do that, it's really going to help you move that trail wrist better. Let me show you what that would look like. Now, I probably can't make a normal backswing here because the stick would be in the way, so I'm going to have to kind of manufacture that a little bit. But from here, wrist set is this movement. I really don't mind if I start to lose that fairly early. We're not trying to hold that angle, remember. What we are trying to hold is the wrist kind of being pulled back to my forearms. So we go, wrist cock is lost, but I really want to feel like I hold the wrist back, which allows me to move that club in behind the alignment stick. The golfer who's trying to hold lag and doing it incorrectly might have a swing that looks like this. Notice the difference. This angle's being held too long. I'm losing it in my wrist. This is where we don't want to be because it's really hard then to deliver the club to the ball. An alignment stick and a golf club and tracing from the top to the ball is brilliant because it's really going to get you to understand and be aware of actually what does that wrist need to do for me to hit the ball solidly. Still got this angle, that's so, so important. It's this angle that we have to maintain, have to. At this point here, I haven't got my wrist set. I had to lose that to get the club back to the ball, but I really want to be holding this angle here. So this is really, really good. I love this little exercise for anyone really struggling with the shape of their downswing. And this movement might be a little extreme, but it's absolutely fine to have extreme movements when we're working on different things. So you can see how I'm tracing the club, moving it to the ball. There's no speed there. We're not looking to do that at 70, 80 miles an hour. We're not looking to hit the golf ball. What we are looking for you to do is create a movement which gets you to understand how the wrist moves. Think about it in this way and why we use these little drills. If I'm making a movement which isn't quite right, I need to first of all understand and appreciate what the right movement is. That task is designed in such a way that for you to complete that task, you have to move the wrist correctly. So as you're doing those little exercises, you're creating feels, you're creating the right movements. And then you can start to, ask yourself, okay, how does that feel to me? How do I have to move the club? Does it feel different in my trail wrist, my lead wrist, my arm? And it's really important that we allow you to build your own feels. The tasks, which is that little exercise, are designed so you can create your own feels. And then when you step in with a golf ball and a club in your hand, you've already given yourself the right feelings, the right ideas that you can then go ahead and try and replicate. And I think that's a really important message is that little drill with a stick, that doesn't change your golf swing. All it does is it creates a situation and an environment where you can learn and understand what the right movement is. We still then have to apply it to the ball, and that's where your academy and your drive range, your practice comes in, and your repetition and your slow swings building up speed. But the task has to help you to establish the right movement, and that's really important. Right, trail wrist, improve that. You improve your shots, Distance, direction, consistency, all of those things. But like I said at the start of the video, if you really want to take your ball striking to the next level, and you want a serious plan of how you can do it with all the clubs in the bag, check out that training series on my website at the moment. Thanks for watching. Usual stuff is down below, comments box down there, like button down there as well, subscribe link over here, hit that. These videos can help you play some better golf, I guarantee it. Thanks.